Hi, I'm Danny. So today we're going to be going through a few calf stretches. Now these aren't all necessary, but ideally if we've got access to something like a wedge or yoga blocks or plates, that's great. And then if we've got some form of kettlebell or a dumbbell, any kind of free weight, and then a resistance band as well. So as we go through the stretches, naturally you'll kind of see what we actually require. So hopefully we've got enough variation that you can customize it to whatever you've got. So the first stretch that we're going to do, we're going to be sat down, so just to take the balance equation out of it. We're going to need a resistance band or a belt, or anything similar. And what we're going to do is we're going to place one foot out straight, making sure that the knee stays in contact with the floor or the surface that you sat on, and then placing the belt or the band on the ball of the foot just below the toes. So there's a couple of different ways that we can do this. The first one is we can pull the band back towards our body, creating that tension on the calf, and we will be feeling a little bit of compression within the ankle as well. That's normal. And we can hold that for about 30-40 seconds and then swapping sides and of course resting a little bit in between. Or what we can do is if we want to be a little bit more active within the stretch, we can pull that band back again until we're feeling a good stretch in the back of our calf and then compression within the front of the ankle. And then keeping that tension towards my chest, I can push my foot away, pressing against it, and then slowly and controlled coming back and repeating over and over. So we want to treat this like any other exercise. If we're holding it for 30-40 seconds, then like I said, change legs with a little bit of rest in between. And then if we're doing a little bit more of the active stretch where we're pushing forward, we want to be doing about 10 of them, change sides, of course rest again, and go for about 3 sets. So moving on to a standing calf stretch, it's probably easier to imagine with wedges or blocks. So I'm going to use plates to demonstrate this. However, we'd just be doing the same thing with that. So I'm going to place the ball of the foot onto the very edge of the plate, so then my heel is hanging down further. So it's a deficit kind of stretch. From here, I'm going to find where I can place my foot, where if I straighten the leg that's on the plate, I feel a good stretch within the calf. And again, you're going to perhaps naturally feel compression on the front of the ankle as well. That's absolutely fine, that's amazing. And then from there, we're just going to gently lean forward until we feel that stretch. So again, there's a couple of options we can do. We can hold that stretch for about 30-40 seconds, swapping feet, making sure that knee's locked out, keeping the leg locked out. Or if we wanted to, we could think about raising up on the foot that we've got onto the plate and kind of treating it as reps. So going for 10. And again, trying to keep that leg that we've got on the plate locked out the entire time, even when we're raising. And then changing sides, doing 3 sets, giving yourself a rest in between. A slight variation of the stretch that we've just been doing, we're going to be using the plates or the blocks for both of our feet at one time. We're going to be using the wall to aid in balancing us and the weight that we've got as well. So placing the ball of the foot on the very edge and letting our heels come down as much as possible, keeping our legs locked out. So again, we can either treat this as holding it for 30-40 seconds, or we can be a bit more active in it, so coming down as much as we can, and then pressing up, doing calf raises, feeling that stretch every time we come down, and then raising as high as we can. Again, treat that with kind of like 10 reps, and then rest, have a bit of a walk around in between, and do about 3 sets. Now when we are doing the calf raises, it's important to make sure that we're pushing through the balls of our feet. So what typically happens is our soles of our feet will twist and kind of see each other. So we want to prevent that, make sure we're pushing through the balls of the feet. It is a lot more difficult, but we're going to get a greater stretch out of it and create more strength if we're doing that kind of pulsing action. This next stretch is an amazing one. It's a life changer. So we're going to be using a bench or a tabletop or a worktop, anything that we've got. We want to be placing quite a bit of weight onto it, so it wants to be something that's stable as well. So we're going to start by placing our hands onto the bench, and then we're going to be starting with our feet about hip width apart. So from here, I'm going to walk out one leg, keeping flat on the floor, while raising the heel and bending the knee of the other foot, as you can see. So from here, I'm going to hold this stretch for about 3 seconds, and then I'm going to alternate. So a slight variation of this, going back to this side. If this isn't intense enough, I can raise the ball of the foot, so I'm staying on the heel of the leg that's been stretched, creating a greater stretch within the back of the calf and behind the knee. And then I'm going to alternate on each side again, or hold. So we can drop our body weight down as well to intensify the stretch, or we can kind of build up to something that's a little bit higher whilst doing the exercise. So again, we could treat as 10 reps on each side and then have a rest, do 3 sets in total, or we can hold that stretch. So it's quite an intense one, so of course just go at the intensity level that you're feeling. I hope something's helped. So let me know how your progress is going on, if you've found anything new that you're going to start implementing. And then, did you know that you're also indirectly working on ankle flexion when you're calf stretching, which is amazing. So make sure you subscribe if you didn't know, if you were unsure, if you did know, if you're different, if you're indifferent. Yeah.